Don't mess with us.
Thank the law you're here. That madman was out of control. You were right to put him down. He was too far gone to be of any use to us. And what about you? You aren't hurt, I hope. Why shouldn't I be interested in the well-being of my finest agent? Not to mention my most valuable investment. You've put down the worst riot in our history, rid the colony of a dangerous madman, and saved my life. The board owes you a tremendous debt. We don't have a moment to lose. We're gonna have to work together to save Halcyon, because the situation is far worse than you imagined. We've lost all contact with Earth. It's been 3 years since we've received a message. We've had no contact, no signals, nothing. Earth has gone dark. 2 years ago, the Earth Directorate's frigate disappeared en route to Earth. We don't know if they ever made it. We don't know if there's an Earth to go back to.
You mean... we're all alone out here? Really alone?
You sound frightened, Miss Holcomb. You should be. Fear sharpens the mind. We're alone, Captain. That's all I know for certain. Whatever happens to this colony, we're going to have to deal with it on our own. Returning to Earth is not an option. I'll answer however I can. I couldn't risk this news getting out. Before you, the 2 people in this colony who knew the truth were Chairman Rockwell and I. I had every intention of telling you the truth after you'd skipped the Hope to Tartarus. Unfortunately, Phineas Wells chose that moment to start a riot. The Earth Directorate's frigate accounts for half of our military forces. 2 years ago, that frigate disappeared while returning to Earth. We haven't heard a word back. Without the Directorate's frigate, our military forces are barely capable of maintaining control over this colony. Not a word. We received our last message 3 years ago. Our every attempt at reaching out to Earth has been met with absolute silence. I can't say for certain, but all my data suggests that Earth has experienced a massive calamity. I don't know what happened, but something must have gone horribly wrong. I'm not sure there's an Earth to go back to. Yes, we do have a long road ahead of us, but I have faith in you. The service you've done for this colony is nothing short of extraordinary. You're the reason I'm still standing here today. The board will survive because of you, and as the board goes, so goes Halcyon. It's time we carried out the program. I trust I can count on your support, Captain. I don't know what I expected. Well, I suppose I'll just get on with saving the colony then. Enjoy your treat.
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment she landed in Emerald Vale, her actions altered the course of history. The riots in Tartarus ended in a total victory for the board. Without any significant threats to challenge their power, the board asserted their control over the colony. The Lifetime Employment Program began immediately, and the people of Halcyon did exactly what they were expected to do. They obeyed. Sophia Akande converted the labyrinth from a prison to a processing center. She jettisoned the original colonists out of the Hope and transformed the ship into a massive storage facility. One by one, the workers of Halcyon surrendered themselves to the program. They arrived with their families and their friends, their colleagues and their neighbors, and then, one by one, they marched into their stasis chambers. As the workers of Halcyon slept in their hibernation chambers, their settlements became ghost towns, left behind by the Board to be reclaimed by nature. Only Byzantium remained, a shining beacon of civilization in an otherwise abandoned colony. The people of Byzantium spent the rest of their days gorging themselves on their stockpile of resources. As for the workers of Halcyon, they never felt the effects of the collapse. They never felt anything at all. With the Board shuttering many of its smaller townships, Graham was never able to spread his ideals to Byzantium. On Monarch, however, the iconoclast movement swelled, forming the colony's hotbed of philosophical thought and freedom, a consistent counterpoint to the Board's capitalist regime. Or so they viewed themselves, at least. The Byzantium elite find it endearing that those anarchistic hoopleheads are still allowed to breathe Halcyon air. Bolstered by her status as savior of humanity, Lilia Hagen ushered sublight salvage to a new golden age. Her company grew bolder and more transparent over time, muddying the line between lawful and criminal for the entire colony. The Sublight family would thrive for years to come. Over the years, the ruins of Edgewater caused irreversible environmental damage to the landscape of Emerald Vale, owing largely to the presence of toxic compounds in the town's building materials. As for Edgewater's former workers, their remains provided a source of nourishment for the region's fauna, leading to an explosion in the sprat population. While the Groundbreaker remained mechanically stable, the changing times forced Junlei Tennyson to make some difficult calls on behalf of her community. The work of maintaining independence was an uphill climb, and she found herself caving to bad faith compromises with the Board. Time will tell if the Groundbreaker can endure. As smaller settlements were swallowed up and their workers drafted into the Lifetime Employment Program, Byzantium continued to thrive. While its citizens lived in decadence and extravagance, a small cadre of scientists worked to solve the nutrition crisis that threatened Halcyon. No one else much noticed the townships that disappeared from the map, or the luxuries that slowly lost their luster year by year. Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective. She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal. As the Board reasserted control over Halcyon, Felix came to realize that his life as an upstart rebel had come to an end. The Board's victory crushed any hope for a grand revolution across Halcyon. And so Felix, once again, found himself without a purpose in life. And so, disillusioned with his former boss and with nowhere left to go, Felix left his crew without saying goodbye. He was never heard from again. As a reward for his part in her courageous rescue, the adjutant invited the vicar known as Max to become one of the leaders of the Order of Scientific Inquiry. But Max had no interest in serving any organization, let alone the OSI, which he knew would never tolerate his heretical theories. Instead, he attempted to minister to the people of Byzantium. They rejected his ideas, being far too satisfied with their own material comforts. Disillusioned, Max gave up and left the city. He was never heard from again. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker. and Parvati enthusiastically, if somewhat awkwardly, agreed. As the board began to roll out their lifetime employment program, Parvati was increasingly plagued by dreams of freezing to death, and rarely left their shared quarters. Stymied by dwindling resources, Junlei struggled to keep the groundbreaker afloat. Their relationship couldn't survive the strain. Parvati moved into crew quarters and found work servicing water pumps in hydroponics. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, a mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. Adjutant Sophia Akande was instrumental in executing the lifetime employment program. While the rest of Byzantium celebrated, Sophia returned to work. She devoted herself to ensuring that Byzantium remained prosperous for many generations to come, and to finding an answer to Earth's silence. With Halcyon's workers suspended in a state of hibernation, starvation and chaos are problems of the past. The lifetime employment program succeeded in its goals, but that success came at a price. The Halcyon of today is nothing at all like the colony of yesteryear. Power remains concentrated in Byzantium, but all the colony's resources serve the lifestyle of the elite, thereby transforming Halcyon into one of the smallest and most exclusive colonies in the system. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? After you rescued her in Tartarus, Sophia Akande offered you any reward you could imagine. Power, wealth, influence. However, you were more interested in the simple pleasures in life, like the smooth, artificially enhanced flavor of a Rizzo's Purple Berry Munch. Rizzo's Purple Berry Munch, the only snack in Halcyon, officially endorsed by the captain of the Unreliable. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.
Are you sufficiently prepared for the task at hand, Captain? Are you sure? That is extremely dangerous. Skipping the Hope will void the warranty on the skip drive. And also potentially kill an entire planet. How is my humor now, Captain? Improved? Jump-starting the skip drive. Destination set to the rings of Terra 2. I wouldn't advise that, Captain.
Oh no. Captain, don't do this. I ain't dying on a fucking ship. I'm gonna die in the dirt like we're meant to.
Well, I literally can't dispute that. Please with the daily ship log note that I defer to the captain against my better judgment. I am programmed not to ignore an order, after all.
ADA. Does your captain seriously intend to do a micro-jump in system with engines that haven't been powered in 70 years? on a derelict ship.
That is what my captain intends, yes.
But that is a gross misuse of the skip drive. The Zero Point Drives Corp and I will not be held responsible for any damage incurred during transport, and this will cause extreme damage.
Yes, I am aware of that.
You should not be doing this. The humans will die. These calculations don't look right. Why is this number negative?
Thank you, Hope. It looks like all systems are a go. Captain, I would advise you to hold on to something. Now.